what I have come to found is that really, if you are really wanting to make some changes and you are really wanting to get to the other side of all of that, the very first step is really putting the focus back on you. When you are trying to make change in your life, it's not a linear process, right? It's not like it's not like a one and done. There's going to be setbacks. There's going to be challenges. Hey, welcome to the Wellness Revolution podcast. I'm your host, Amber Shaw. If you are new here, welcome. I am so excited to be in your ear. And if you've been tracking with this show for a little bit, welcome back. I'm so grateful for your support. So one of the things that I have the privilege of doing in my job and through this platform is really speaking to women and having real authentic conversations with women, what I would consider in midlife, over 35, approaching 40, over 40, and really having just these raw and vulnerable conversations about where they're at in their life. And there are so many women out there right now who are really struggling and have a lot of the same parallels that I had 5 years ago when I was going through what I would consider what I call now my midlife interruption, going through a divorce, really wanting to change careers, just really having such a negative relationship to myself. And, one of the common themes or threads, I should say, that I see with women who are really struggling in that area, either all of those areas or maybe just one of those areas, is really this just struggling with self-esteem, right? Is struggling with confidence. And I get that so damn much. Number one, even if your life is freaking honky-dory and everything's amazing, my God, like as we age as women, like it's hard as hell just to feel good about yourself and your body and all of that, just because of the pressures that society puts on us and culture and like all of that, right? But my goodness, especially if you are going through a difficult season in your life, it can feel really easy. It can be really easy to feel beat down and to feel isolated and to really be struggling with your self-esteem, with your confidence. And like I said, I get all of that because God, I've been there. But here's the deal, whatever you're going through right now, right? Maybe you are just really struggling with your hormonal changes in your body and you're struggling with the way that you look and feel, right? Or maybe you are going through a divorce or maybe you're unhappy in your job, whatever that current life situation is. What I have come to found is that really, if you are really wanting to make some changes and you are really wanting to get to the other side of all of that, the very first step is really putting the focus back on you. It has to start with really building yourself back up and creating that high sense of self-worth so that you can be operating from a place of confidence and strength and empowerment and be making decisions for your life from that place as well. And that is going to be better not only for yourself, but if you're a mom, for your kids. And so we really have to bring it back to basics, like when you are struggling, to start building up the way you view yourself. And this is really not just like me just saying this. I mean, honestly, what the research shows when it comes to making change in your life, any sort of change, is that honest to God, like you can try and like implement all the things you want and read all the books and do all the things and, set the schedules and blah, 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 and do the checklist and all of it. But at the end of the day, like our ability to make change all boils down to one thing. And that's the belief that we actually can do it, right? The belief that we actually can heal from that pain, the belief that we actually can move forward, the belief that we actually can, get a healthier, stronger body, like whatever that looks like, it has to boil down to the belief that we can. And one of the other, key things in this of why that's so important too, is because When you are somebody who is operating from that place of like, okay, like I can do this, like I can do this. I've got, your confidence is a little bit higher. Your self-worth is a little bit higher. One of the things that that's going to help you do, and I know this was for me as well, is that it is going to act as that buffer to those setbacks that you have, because we all know that when you are trying to make change in your life, it's not a linear process, right? It's not like it's not like a one and done. There's going to be setbacks. There's going to be challenges. And if you are not operating from that strong sense of self, right? That high self-worth, you can very easily let those challenges and setbacks take you the hell down and you not get back up. The other thing that I've noticed, and I've noticed this about myself, is that, when you have high levels of really, valuing yourself, right? You've got high self-esteem. You realize your damn worth. You are a hell of a lot less likely to put up with the BS in your life as well. That is just such a beautiful thing that in my 40s that I have come to really appreciate and to recognize. And so if you are really struggling with your self-worth, if you're really struggling with your self-esteem and your confidence, and you can use some help in building that back up, I want to share some things with you that I have come to realize that you need to pay attention to, or they really could sabotage your efforts, not only in building back your own self-image and confidence and all of that, but just really also to sabotage your efforts in trying to make change, or trying to move forward, or trying to really take the next step in your life. But before I dive into that, I first want to share something super exciting that I'm freaking pumped about, people. So I have a brand new program coming out very, very soon. And this is for moms over 35 who are ready to heal emotionally, to move forward with confidence, and to create a fulfilling life they never imagined post-divorce. And I'm so excited for this program. It's called Renew You. And so if you want to be one of the first to get all the details for this life-changing program, where honestly, I'm going to take you through the exact process that I did 5 years ago when I was going through my divorce, where I'm going to show you how to really transform your mindset, to discover your true damn self and who the hell are you, to build your financial stability and independence. And also in this program, I'm going to show you how to create a personalized plan for your next step. So if that is of interest to you and you're like, yeah, I want to learn more about that, I want to be the first to know, then just add your name to the interest list. There's no obligation to be on the interest list, and it also does not guarantee a spot, but you will just be the first to know all the details. And I'm also rewarding those on the interest list who join the program. So you want to get on there. So you could just go to products.ambershaw.com/signature-waitlist. That's a long URL and I get it. So don't worry, just head to the show notes and you can grab it there. So, okay, so let's dive in though. Let's dive into the 3 mistakes that you need to avoid in order to rebuild your self-esteem. So the first one is, and man, this for me is like, this took me a very, very, very long time to really to latch onto and really understand. But the biggest mistake is tying your self-worth to something external, whether that's a number on the scale, whether that's your relationship status, whether that is a type of like success or lack of success. Anytime you attach your worth to something external, you will always be chasing. Because I got to tell you, I know for me, especially like when I was really struggling with body image issues and I was really struggling with my weight, it was like, it was never enough. And it was because the thing that I was searching for, like meaning I would lose the weight and then I would just raise the bar. Like I would look in the mirror and I'd be like, I'd find something else to pick out. Right. And it was just never enough. And I kept lying to myself and telling myself, creating that story for myself, like, oh no, once I get there, then I will be happy. Then I'll look good and I'll have confidence. But like every single time, no matter how much weight I lost or whatever goal I reached, it was never enough because the thing that I was chasing had nothing to do with the weight, or it had nothing to do with that like next level at my job. Or for me, and this was a big one when I was going through my divorce, was really tying my happiness to being married. I mean, that was a big, big one for me, especially, and I know this is very common for people. It's like or for women, especially going through divorce, you wonder, like when you're in the middle of all of that trauma and that relationship rupture, it's like, oh my God, how am I gonna like I'm damaged goods, right? Like I'm, especially if you're getting divorced in midlife, like I was when I was turning 40, it was like, oh my God, I'm damaged goods. Who's gonna want me? Like I'm too old to, I'm too old to get back into the dating, world. I cannot start over at 40. And that was such a story that I created myself. And it really, and the reason why I fed into those lies is because I really had so much of my self-worth and my happiness and the way I felt about myself tied to these external things. And so I just really want you to, and I want to invite you to really evaluate, do a self audit. What things in your life are you attaching the statement like, I'll be happy when fill in the blank? Right? Or if I could just accomplish X, Y, and Z, or if I could just meet someone, or if I could just like whatever it is, if you find yourself having these like conditional statements that you say to yourself, I want to invite you to lean into that. I want to invite you to look at that and really evaluate, because that is the dead giveaway that you are attaching your self-worth to something external. And that is a losing freaking battle that you will never, ever win. And again, you may know this on a conscious level, but sometimes, and this can go back to, our feelings of self-worth and confidence and all of that, for a lot of us are really, if that is damaged or low, it could stem from childhood, or it could stem from, experiences or relationships or, conditioning, or like whatever that looks like for you. A lot of that programming, even though we know on a conscious level, oh, yes, I know I can't really attach my worth to X, Y, and Z, right? Like I need to be, it's an inside job. It's happiness from the inside, like all of these things that I know we say. But the truth is that if you on a subconscious level, right, due to your beliefs and your programming on a deep, deep subconscious level, if you really don't have that foundation for a high sense of self or that confidence, and you have that low self-esteem, then that is going to continue to dictate your actions every single day, whether your conscious brain wants to or not. And so I just want to invite you to pause and take a look at that and write them down. Write them down. Where is it that you are, if you are trying to make some changes in your life, or if you are going through a difficult season in your life and you are attaching that statement or creating that statement, that conditional statement, I'll be happy when, or if I could just do X, Y, Z, I'll be happy then. I want to invite you to take a look at that. The second thing that can really sabotage your you trying to rebuild your self-esteem or build your confidence is really internalizing blame. And there's two different facets I want to talk about this. Number one is internalizing blame, where maybe you felt like you didn't do what you were supposed to do, or you didn't show up the way you wanted to show up, or you said you were going to do something and you did another, right? Like I can't even tell you, especially when I was coaching women with weight loss, right? It's like, how many times have you said you're going to like eat healthy, and then you end up like, you feel like you just like totally blew it. Like you ended up, going out and having a bunch of drinks and a bunch of food and like whatever. Then you wake up the next day and you're like, God, I blew it. And you just go in that shame spiral, right? You're internalizing that blame. There's that, right? Or, if you are in, maybe it is you're going through a divorce and or a relationship shift, or maybe it is something at with work where you feel like you didn't do what you said you were going to do, or you quote messed up, right? Like we can be so damn hard on ourselves that we can spend a lot of time internalizing that blame, especially if you're like a type A perfectionist like I am, right? And that blame and that guilt and that shame, like if we didn't do what we said we're gonna do, or we made a mistake or whatever, it can actually be pretty crippling. And I know for me, for many, many years, because I was always so hard on myself, I could let that negative talk track like really take me down and go in a rabbit hole. But one of the things that I have really learned is that is just a waste of time. Like that's a waste of time. It's a waste of energy. Like, can you and should you learn from making mistakes or having setbacks, or things in relationships that didn't work the way that that didn't work out, or you didn't hit your goal, or whatever that looks like yes, should there be a learning from that? Right? Absolutely. That's how we grow. That's how we make better decisions or different decisions for the next time, the next relationship, or whatever that looks like, right? But spending your time focusing and internalizing the blame and really tearing yourself down, it's not going to get you anywhere. It's a waste of freaking time. And a lot of times when and this is the thing with personal growth is what I will say. And I think we all know this, is that it's a never ending thing, right? Like once you start going down this path of personal growth, you really just start, it's like you feel like you heal one thing and then you like create awareness around another thing. And it's this constant growth process, but that's what we do in life. Right. And so, even now for me as a coach, if I find myself, if I didn't do what I said I wanted to do, or if I felt like I messed up or whatever, it's not that I don't have those negative thoughts, or I don't try and internalize the blame, but the difference now between how I operate now versus how I operate then is I'm able to not attach myself to the thought. I am able to have the thought and recognize it and be aware of it, but not pass so much damn judgment on myself. And in doing so, I'm able to recognize the thought, right? But then I'm able to have a little bit more of an objective view of it. I'm able to detach the emotion a little bit better from it so that I can use my energy instead of being in the place of self-loathing and blame and guilt and shame and all of that. I'm able to actually use my energy to figure out what I could do differently. Maybe to do a little like triage of the situation and figure out like what, maybe at what point did I go wrong, right? And I'm able to really look at things a little more objectively so that I can do things differently moving forward. And the last one that I want to share, this is one, again, you're trying to build your sense of self-worth up, your self-esteem, your confidence. This is huge. It's neglecting your own damn self-care. And I don't necessarily mean like going to get manicures and going to get massages and bubble baths. Like, okay, yeah, those things are all great. But girl, I'm just talking about like on a basic human needs level. Like, are you taking care of you? If you are somebody, I just was having this conversation with Dr. Jay Tita on his podcast, and he was asking me like, somebody who is going through a midlife interruption, or they're struggling to hit their goals, or they're feeling really down on themselves, or they're going through a divorce, or whatever that looks like what steps would you guide them through in order to start to get out of that? And what I said was, at base level, the very first thing is to do an inventory of how well are you taking care of you. Because there is absolutely no way that you can face emotional turmoil if you are not operating from a place where you are getting enough sleep, where you're doing the basic things like moving your body, you're eating well, you're treating yourself kindly, you are recognizing some of these basic needs that you require. There's no way that you can operate from that place of confidence and strength, and feeling good and in your body and having that high self-esteem if at bare minimum you are not taking care of you. And in addition, you can't take care of everybody else. And we all know this, like can't take care of everybody else if you're not filling your own cup first. Like we all know that, but I got to tell you, like I think every mom needs that reminder on the daily. Everybody. I think we all do, because especially in times where shit's hard, right? Or we're really struggling, our self-care can be the first to go out the window, right? Okay, so there you have it, my beauties. These are the 3 mistakes that you really need to be mindful of and be aware of if you are really struggling with your self-esteem and with your confidence. And so let me quickly recap. So mistake number 1 is tying your self-worth to something external, right? Whether it's a relationship status, or maybe it's your weight, or it's any type of success or maybe lack of success, right? Number 2 is internalizing the blame, right? Internalizing the blame. And number 3 is neglecting your self-care. And so if you loved this episode and you got some value out of this episode, I know that you're also actually going to love episode 276. And this is all about how to align your passion and purpose in midlife. And so I'm going to share this in the show notes for you, so that you can easily go and check it out. And don't forget, if you want all of the details from my brand new program, if you are somebody who is going through a divorce, if you are a mom over 35 and you're going through a divorce, or you have been through a divorce and you are ready to move forward and start this next chapter of your life, head to products.ambershaw.com/signature-waitlist or signature-waitlist, or just go to the show notes and grab it there since it's a longer URL. And thanks for listening today. I'll catch you on the next one.